Good evening. I'd like to call to order the January 22nd, 2018 Lake Washington School Board meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Director Liberty, seconded by Director Bleasner. All those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So recognitions, Dr. Pierce?
Yeah, so our first item on the agenda tonight is recognition, and it's always a special recognition because it's recognition of our school board. And, I got to thinking, usually we are able to do recognition on a later school board meeting. Well, there's usually more people than staff in the audience, but it is January and it is recognition month, so we wanted to go ahead and do it tonight, and I might also weave it in a little bit to our next board meeting as well. But before I read the governor's proclamation, I just want to say a couple of words of appreciation to the board. Our board members, and so say it to you and to our staff, and on behalf of staff, we really appreciate everything that you all do. As elected officials, you spend a lot of time and energy helping to govern the district, and you have a very important role, and a lot of times it's maybe underappreciated, and I'm not sure everyone who hasn't been a board member or doesn't maybe come to board meetings has a real good understanding of what the board does and how much time you all invest for this organization and for the good of our students. So I want to say thank you to all of you for your service, and I want to read the governor's proclamation as well. Whereas the mission of Washington's public school system is to assure that all students achieve at high levels and possess the knowledge and skills to be responsible citizens of a democratic society and enjoy productive and satisfying lives, and whereas Washington's 295 locally elected school boards and 9 elected educational service district boards are the core of the public education governance system in our state, and whereas the districts and regions they lead serve more than 1 million students, most of them are here in Lake Washington, have a combined annual budget of approximately $15 billion and employ close to 120,000 people. And whereas school directors play a critical role in promoting student learning and achievement by creating a vision, establishing policies and budgets, and setting clear standards of accountability for all involved, and whereas school directors are directly accountable to the citizens in their districts and regions, serving as a vital link between members of the community and their schools, and whereas school directors and educational service districts provide a passionate voice of advocacy for public schools and the welfare of school children, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize school directors as outstanding volunteers and champions for public education, now therefore I, Jay Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim January 2018 as School Board Recognition Month in Washington, and I encourage all people in our state to join me in this special observance. And it's signed the 29th day of December by our Governor, Jay Inslee. So we do have a little token of our appreciation for you, and each year we try to think creatively about something that the board might enjoy, and so after the meeting you can do it now if you like, open the little gifts that we've prepared for you.
Cash.
Do you want to look at them now, or do you want to look at it later?
Let's just open them.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I bet you open Christmas presents on the 23rd.
And it might be something that'll come in handy, hopefully, in the months ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And if any of the sizes aren't correct, we can correct them. So don't worry about that. But just a little logo jacket for each of you. So. Yeah. Keep you dry.
Well, thank you. I
Thank you for all your service. Thank
Yes.
you.
Over the years, my fleece sweater is one of the things I do still can keep track of and do use on a regular basis. So thank you.
That's great. I know, and it's been, I think, a number of years
That one's
since
been
we,
about
did a jacket or
I think so.
something. So
So,
great.
All right.
Glad you like it.
Fantastic. Okay, so now that brings us to the board reorganization, which means that I need to turn the meeting over to our superintendent.
I don't know if I actually knew the, okay. All right, there are 3 positions open, and so I will hold the temporary chair until the president is elected. The process will be to call for nominations and then declare the nominations closed. Nominations are now open for president of the Lake Washington School Board.
I would like to nominate Director Bleasner for president.
I'll second that.
Okay, it has, thank you, it's been nominated, so Siri has been nominated for president, and nominations do not need a second, but thank you.
The sentiment is appreciated. Yes.
What the hell?
Okay. Okay, so Siri has been nominated. Are there other nominations for president of the board?
That's a no.
Okay. All right. As there are no other nominations for president of the board, I declare the nominations to be closed. There's been 1 nomination for president, and that's Siri. All in favor of Siri as president, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Siri's been elected by unanimous vote to be president. Congratulations, Siri. And you now take over the chair to elect the vice president.
Oh, do I have to do
I don't know, you don't, maybe we adjust the seats later.
Why don't we just move the gavel
We'll move the gavel to you
tonight?
for now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of furniture.
Okay, well, thank you. Now I'd like to call for any nominations are now open for vice president of the board.
I'd like to nominate Director Stewart for vice president.
Director Stewart has been nominated for vice president of the board. Are there any other nominations for vice president of the board? Hearing no other nominations for vice president of the board, I declare nominations to be closed. There has been 1 nomination for vice president, and that is Director Mark Stewart. All in favor of Mark as vice president signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mark Stewart is elected by unanimous vote to be vice president. Congratulations. So now we'll move on to our 3rd position. So nominations are now open for the legislative representative of the board.
I'd like to nominate Director LaLiberty.
Director LaLiberty has been nominated for Ledge Rep of the board. Are there any other nominations for the legislative representative of the board? As there are no other nominations for legislative representative of the board, I declare the nominations to be closed. There has been 1 nomination for Ledge Rep, and that is Eric LaLiberty. All in favor of Director Liberty as legislative representative signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So Director Liberty is elected by unanimous vote to be the legislative representative. Thank you. So having finished the board reorganization, thank you all for stepping forward and doing so. We will continue on with our consent agenda. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Carlson and seconded by Director LaLiberty. Tracy, will you please poll the board?
Cassandra?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Siri?
Yes. And Dr. Pierce, if you could please review the donations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you turn to tab 9, we have a number of donations this evening. Again, all monetary donations which exceed $1,000 are submitted to the board for approval. And this evening, we have a $2,500 donation from Radian Guarantee Incorporated to Dickinson Elementary to support extracurricular activities, $3,184 from Albert Einstein PTSA to Einstein Elementary to purchase a site license for a reading enrichment program and for a First in Math program, $12,548 from Lakeview Elementary PTSA to Lakeview Elementary to provide a homework club stipend, purchase playground equipment, and classroom supplies, and to support field trips. $2,000 from Taylor and Joanne Smith to Rose Hill Elementary to purchase a site license for Reflex Math. $1,500, again from Taylor and Joanne Smith to Rose Hill Middle to support classroom enrichment, extracurricular activities, and staff development. $5,000 from the Juanita High School PTSA to Juanita High School to purchase musical instruments, and $5,000 from Reach Church to Lake Washington High School to purchase classroom supplies. All total this evening, the donations are $31,731, rounding to the nearest dollar. So very much appreciate the generosity of all donors this evening.
Yes, we were very thankful for those who have chosen to support our school district and greatly appreciate that generosity going forward. So thank you so much. Now we will move on to our non-consent agenda. And our first item is the approval of the monitoring report for science.
For which I need to beg everyone's forgiveness due to some challenges associated with the federal government shutdown at the NIH. I was busy with some other issues over the last week, and I need to postpone till the next meeting.
So the plan will be just to postpone that to our next board meeting, which is currently scheduled for February 5th.
Yes.
Excellent. So we will just move to there, and then we'll be able to have that discussion on the science monitoring report. So at this point, we are now on to board member comments. If there's anything anybody would like to add.
Congratulations. I've been looking forward to this. I really, really have. It's going to be a very interesting and fun year. So thank you, Siri. You've been a great vice president, and I have great.
He's been looking forward to it since the day he was in.
Yeah, thank you to both Siri and Mark for taking on the added role at no additional compensation. Yeah.
Any other comments? All right. Just as a heads up, there is the Legislative Assembly this weekend that will be going on. So on Sunday, a variety will be heading down, as well as on Monday will be the day on the Hill with WASDA and WASA and WASBO. So just a heads up that that is coming. And as well as we have our extended study session that will be this Saturday from 8:30 to 12:30. So just giving a heads up. Right here. And with that, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Carlson and seconded by Director La Liberty that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.